insane things, big stories that are great news too. Oh man, yes. It is Thursday morning already. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 46 years on the radio this year. And man, do we have a lot to talk about today. A lot of great news, a lot of very good news, a lot of weird news, and a lot of updates on the stories going on this week. But the big story of the day is that the district attorney in New York, the guy that works for George Soros, Bragg, Alvin Bragg, has cleared President Trump of any wrongdoing. That's right. Now, and I got the story right here. It's widely reported. You wouldn't really know it, right? If you read the stories like they want you to read them. But if you read them like I do, all of them say that Bragg has cleared Trump and the Stormy Daniels, whatever they're doing. The Manhattan grand jury examining Donald Trump's alleged role in a hush money payment. Now, I say this every time. If the story were true, Trump's the victim. When someone comes to extort money out of you, when someone comes to blackmail you, okay, they're the criminal, not you, not who pays. When someone is kidnapped and the family pays a ransom, do the family members, do they get arrested? Do they get charged with paying kidnapping ransom? I don't think so. But anyway, the Manhattan grand jury examining Donald Trump's alleged role in a hush money payment to a porn star isn't expected to hear evidence in the case for the next month. So that's it. It's over. It's over. Bragg has cleared Trump. And, when you hear these stories about Bragg and Trump and everything else that's going on, what is the goal of Bragg? Why doesn't he just come out and say, I've got nothing here? Well, that's a simple answer. They want to keep the illusion of crime over President Trump's head. There will be an investigation into Donald Trump for the rest of his life. In fact, they will be investigating him even after he's gone. They will never leave Donald Trump alone. Okay? There will always be an investigation, usually multiple investigations, into Donald Trump. That's how these people roll. Okay? But Bragg, oh yeah, remember the big buildup? Oh, this Monday, the big witness, surprise witness, it's all going to be revealed. And it was the guys whose name, I cannot say the name of the witness on the radio. You guys can look it up. The National Enquirer guy. I can't say his name on the radio. No, I can't. I'm not, and I can't. But you can look up, I know you'd like me to. You can look it up. But that was, this is it. The National Enquirer guy. He's going to come in and it's going to all be revealed and he's going to get, and now, boom, they're gone for a month. This is, President Trump in the rally in Waco, Texas, he was talking about a friend of his and he said, you must be the most innocent man who's ever lived. And there's no getting around that. This is amazing. Let me see what else they say in the Politico article, and I'm reading it from Politico. Politico's left wing, The Manhattan grand jury examining Donald Trump's alleged role in a hush money payment to a porn star isn't expected to hear evidence in the case for the next month due to a previously scheduled hiatus. Well, I thought they were going to have the grand finale. The break would push any indictment to late April. Oh, well, what do you mean any indictment? Let me ask you guys this. If Bragg had anything, do you think he'd wait? No, he would not wait. It'd be over. They'd do it. They'd bring the indictment in and pursue it. They've got nothing. And the reason they got nothing, there's two reasons why this happened. One, of course, President Trump did no wrong and he's not a criminal. But when Trump posted on Truth Social 2 weeks ago tomorrow that he was going to be arrested by Tuesday, and the spotlight went on this grand jury, and they brought in that witness who totally exposed Michael Cohen and had the documents and everything else. That was it. This was over almost 2 weeks ago. It's over. Trump has been cleared yet again. So this is a day to celebrate that. But like I say, there will always be an investigation into Donald Trump. So get used to that. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. This is great news at 1-888-GO-CANE-1. In recent weeks, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office hasn't convened the panel on certain days, blah, 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 blah. Wow. Even a bunch of corrupt liberal Democrats can't get Trump. How many times does this guy have to be cleared of any wrongdoing? Oh, man. So after the first break, I came across a piece of audio seconds before I went on the air today involving the trans shooter, which I'm going to get to after the break. I want to play you this audio. And I'm going to talk, there's a lot of news stories we're going to talk about today, but there's one thing in particular I'm going to highlight as the show goes on today. And I'm going to throw the phones open to this. And I am as serious as a heart attack, okay, on this. The Democrats have never brought anything good to this country. If you look at all of the things in this country's history that the left want us to apologize for, it's something brought to you by a Democrat. Democrats have brought nothing good to this country. They're divisive. They're terrible people. And I saw something last night that really, really, really ticked me off. And I'm going to get into that as well, it involves something that's in the news today that the left are doing. And I'm not talking about their sympathy towards the trans killer, which is very bizarre. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, too. But we have a lot of things to cover, but it is a great day. This is a day of celebration. If the president's listening this morning, this is a day of celebration. Bragg has cleared Donald Trump. Sorry. Yeah, why don't they just let him ride out and have a second term and just leave the guy alone, okay? He only has one more term. We have term limits for president in this country. Wouldn't that be easier? Things would probably go better for the left and for the Uniparty and the Republican establishment if they did that. There's also a new poll out we're going to get into. So there's just a lot to celebrate today. But yes. Bragg has cleared Trump is the main celebration. Now, the media aren't going to say it that way. They're not going to present it that way. But that's what they're saying. All right. Now, we're going to take our first break of this Thursday morning edition of the longest running radio show in the state of Florida, the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number toll free 1-888-GO-CANE-1. And I want to remind you guys, there's other ways to listen to this program. Alexa, play True Oldies FLA. Hey, Google, play True Oldies FLA. Yeah, that's right. And you can listen to our radio station all day, all night that way. And, of course, us in the morning. All right, let's take that first break. When we get back, I'll jump into these new issues. But celebrate. Bragg has cleared Trump. We'll be celebrating that throughout the day. Don't go anywhere. Back after this.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-CANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig on Oldies 95.9 and 106.9.
Oh,
Brian Craig here.
Yes. I mean, what other way are you to take that? I thought this guy for the National Enquirer was going to be it. They always have some scheme. Oh, yes, on such a day, this is going to happen. And that's when, I'm going to sneeze. Hold on, guys. Take off the mic. Now the air just popped on. I turned the air down really low. It was so hot in here when I came in. Oh, yes. Thank you, guys. Yes. Do you agree with me, yes or no, that sending the jury home for a month is Bragg clearing Trump? I that's how I take it. How else would you take it? Oh, man. This is an exciting day. I had a weird thing at the coffee shop this morning too. I want to just share it. It's so bizarre. Mm. I used to like the Inquirer. The Inquirer was based down here for many years in Florida, in Lake Worth. And many years ago in the 80s, they used to put up this massive Christmas tree, and people would drive from all around to go see that Christmas tree. Bragg, yeah, it's a way to weasel out that they got nothing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Who are these? What goes through the mind of these people? Oh, there's always going to be an investigation of Trump. They're always going to investigate him in his second term. If the Democrats are in power again, they'll impeach him. You know, that's what they do. That's what Democrats do. Oh, I got to look up something here. Hold on. I have to look up something.
Next question also has Skechers air-cooled yoga mat. They're machine washable and very affordable. It's definitely won't max out your budget. So don't settle for inferior cushion. Trick yourself to maximum cushion. Skechers Max Cushion. You heard Tony Romo. Now feel the difference extra cushion can make for yourself. Comfortable machine washable Skechers Max Cushion. See all the styles and Skechers store, Skechers.com, wherever stylish footwear is sold. On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. You know, when I was getting ready this morning, it was raining. And then when I left the house, it was raining a little bit and the roads were wet. You know what we're moving into? I don't know what the date is, but we're moving into rainy season here in Florida. Remember, we are in the tropics. We're in the tropics stop actually at Fort Pierce, like officially. That's the end of the tropics. But if you're south of Fort Pierce, the tropics. No, but it's rainy season, which is another way to say hurricane season. And if you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you've got a leak in your roof, and you want to call Tom Laporta before that little tiny leak becomes, well, a medium-sized leak. And then after the medium-sized leak, what do you got? You got a big problem, and it gets expensive. And, you know, sad story with Steve is he had a wet spot on his ceiling. He ignored it. It got bigger and bigger. Then he got other wet spots. He had wet spot here, a wet spot there, a wet spot everywhere. And finally, this is how we found Tom Laporta from Laporta Contracting. He called Tom Laporta, and because Steve had ignored that little wet spot, he had a massive leak in his roof, which of course had to be replaced. But that water came down over all the time he was ignoring it, and 40% of the drywall in Steve's home had to be replaced because it was filled with deadly black mold that his entire family were breathing. I went over there. I could smell it. I just thought that I didn't know why the house stunk, and I didn't want to say anything because I thought it would be rude. But, you know, because they were living in it, they didn't notice it. Yeah. So, yeah. And you had to get a new roof. 40% of the drywall had to be replaced. Oh, yeah. And all that dampness is a breeding ground for termites. So his house was being eaten. That was a big expense to get rid of the termites. When he had that first little wet spot, if he would have called Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting, probably would have needed just a simple repair. If you just need a simple repair, Tom Laporta will help you. He'll never sell you a roof you don't need. He works on all kinds of structures, municipal buildings, condos, HOAs, office buildings, churches, and of course, single-family homes. He covers the entire state of Florida. And now that we're into this wet time of the year, you know, you might want to write down Tom Laporta's number and put it on your refrigerator. So he's the first person you call when you see that wet spot. His website is laportacontracting.com. But you can, of course, call him. And this number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. All right. So, yeah, we're celebrating Bragg in New York. If you're just tuning in, has cleared President Trump of any wrongdoing. It's a great celebration we're having today. And right before I went on the air, I came across a video that I'm going to share with you. It's a very strange person. And I was talking yesterday that this trans killer in Nashville is the beginning of the end of the trans fad in this country. The left in the are first, they're having this bizarre protest, this rage protest in Washington over the weekend, which is insane. And the left are defending this murderer of 3 9-year-old babies and 3 adults. I mean, this is a monster, and they're defending the person. Merrick Garland, the attorney general, won't pursue hate crimes. Won't, this right now, this incident is a local crime issue. And if Garland were to make it a hate crime, which it is, they were, this monster killed these people because they were Christians, it would make it federal. But they don't want to. They don't want to make it they don't want to label it a hate crime. They don't want the feds involved. And you know why that is? I'm not going to troll. If you got an opinion on this, you're welcome. But I'm just going to tell you, why do you believe Merrick Garland will not call what happened in Nashville a hate crime? Now, I could troll for calls on that and fill up the phones. And you know what a lot of guys do? They ask a question like that. The phones fill up. People say, "Why won't he do it?" And they tell every caller they're wrong, even if they get the right answer. And then at the end, they tell you, this is the real reason. That's called killing time. That's not what we do here. That's what some other people do on other stations in this market. People that I know do that. I don't know why But anyway, Merrick Garland will not label the Nashville killing a hate crime because, like the rest of the left, do you know what they believe? What do you think when Garland and the liberals look at this mass shooting in Nashville where 3 9-year-old children were brutally murdered and 3 adults? How do you think they look at that in their mind? You know what? Is it a mass shooting? You know how they think of it? And you can tell by their tone. And this is why Merrick Garland won't label it a hate crime. The left believe that what the trans killer in Nashville did is not only not a hate crime, but is justifiable homicide. Remember, like what Katie Hobbs, we were talking yesterday, her spokesperson who resigned, said, this is what we do when transphobes are, and all this stuff. They think that the killer in Nashville, that was justifiable homicide. They actually believe that because those Christian 9-year-olds, they really, come on. Come on. But that's how sick these people are. That's how far gone their minds are. And I don't say that lightly, that they consider it justifiable homicide, but listen to how the left have handled this. I'm going to play this audio. I came across this right before I went on the air, and let me turn up the volume. This is from Libs of TikTok, and the girl speaking is I don't know, she's obviously a liberal, and she's talking about the trans killer in Nashville. Listen.
Aiden Hale, that's the name of the Nashville shooter. This video is about to be very uncomfortable for a lot of us. It's very uncomfortable for me to talk about, but we need to talk about it. Aiden did a very horrendous thing. Period, point blank. We need pew reform in our country. But the way that the media and the police are misgendering and dead naming Aiden is quite concerning. It's also concerning that I had to go to the Telegraph from UK to actually get Aiden's chosen name. It's upsetting that constantly it is she, her pronouns. That is incredibly frustrating because even though they did this horrible thing does not mean that we get to do those things. That's a boundary, and we can hold people accountable without being transphobic, even for some of the most horrendous things. So while you're watching this, also watch for transphobia because that's very clearly coming out.
Wow. Yeah. What they did was a bad thing, but the real problem are the wrong pronouns being used. Using different words to describe people that are monsters is, I've never heard people so concerned about this. It happened once. I just had her name, Paula Deen. Remember Paula Deen? Paula Deen was one of the most successful American celebrity chefs. She had her show, her Food Network show and everything. And remember what happened? She lost her entire enterprise because they say she was in a deposition under oath. They asked her if she ever used the N-word, and she said yes, and that was the end of it. She lost everything. Food Network star dropped her. You know, the Food Network, she was the big star on the Food Network. They dropped her. All these things dropped her. Do you know who she called the N-word? Any of you remember? Before she was a famous chef, Paula Deen worked in a bank as a teller when she was a young woman. While she was a bank teller, the bank was robbed with a black man who had a gun. A black man with a gun robbed the bank that Paula Deen was a teller at. The bank robber went up to Paula Deen and took the pistol and put it to Paula Deen's head and said, "Give me the money or I'm going to kill you." So she gave him the money, and when the police came, she used the N-word describing the guy who put a gun to her head and robbed her when she was a bank teller. Now, that part of the story you probably haven't heard. And I remember when they canceled Paula Deen, no one had a problem with the guy who put a gun to her head and robbed the bank. You know, and that's got to be a scary thing. I don't know what I would say or do if somebody had put a gun to my head and I was asked to describe them, and you probably don't either, and hopefully none of us ever do know. And I remember when that was an issue, we'd get calls. Oh, Paula Deen, she called a guy, and I would tell them the story that I just shared. Oh, that's no excuse. Wait, he put a gun to her head and the gun had bullets in it. He was, yeah, but that's no excuse. She needs to use the proper. Are you kidding me? So this is how the left have been. This is how the left will always be. Listen, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Back after this.
Making morning radio great again.
Be right back, guys.
Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created. Here's the oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. Hope your day's off to a great start. In the wake of a cold front that passed yesterday, today's highs just a couple degrees cooler. We'll be in the low 80s. There's a slight chance of a shower or two this morning, especially in South County. And then beyond that, we're going to see partly cloudy skies throughout the course of the afternoon. For the WPBS 25, we're sporting meteorologist Sandra Shaw.
And now, a true oldies traffic check, brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Oh, my goodness. That was a close one. You know, we have an executive VIP men's room, you know, and you got to have a code to get into the men's room. And I got there, and for a second, I forgot the code because we got codes, combination codes on the office doors and everything too. So there's a lot of codes in my head. And I got there and I put in the number and it wouldn't open. Like, oh God. And I forgot. And then I realized, oh, I'm putting the wrong code, but I remembered. We have the nicest men's room in radio. I might do a YouTube video just on our men's room. It's so nice. No. Yeah, that's that when we moved here, that was the first thing I noticed was the quality of the men's room here. Well, I drink a lot of water today. I'm trying to get back on drinking water like I'm supposed to. Well, their defense of this monster is what this is the beginning of the end of the whole trans movement. This defense is insane. What's a Japanese toilet? I'm not sure what that is. It's got very fancy tile and everything all over every place. It's very nice and it smells really pretty. No, this is live. Oh man, I'm so happy that Trump's been cleared by this Bragg grand jury. I mean, that's awesome. They must be so sick. They don't understand. The reason they think that they're always going to get Trump on something is because they're all crooks. Now I'm going to take some calls when we get back. Have you ever seen the show Cool Japan? Oh man, that show's so good. Cool Japan. All right, we'll come back after this. That's Mike. He's the board op. He runs all the controls and everything while I'm here talking to you guys. I got up early. I get up early, extra early on Thursday so I can watch Star Trek Picard before I leave the house, which is so good this season. Oh my goodness, is it good? All right, welcome back. Callers on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show Thursday morning. For those that are just tuning in, Bragg has cleared Trump, and with the grand jury in New York has cleared Trump. They're going on recess for a month after their star witness from the National Enquirer testified on Monday. This is such great news. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Oh, hey, Mike. I got a message about you from a listener this morning. I'm not going to read it to you on the air right now. Maybe I will. I don't know. I don't want to. It wasn't nice. It was not a pleasant message. They didn't say anything good about you. So I'm not going to read it to you. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I was at Starbucks this morning waiting for my coffee, and I was reading the messages, and then one popped up about you, and it was very unkind.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. Listen, people say unkind things about me all the time. That's a good thing.
We're talking about this Bragg guy, the Democrats in general, how mean and all this stuff they are. I mean, this isn't the first time them going after Trump. Isn't the first time them being all hot and bothered about different things and mean about different things. I mean, they've been the bane of American existence since almost the beginning of the country. I mean, remember, Andrew Jackson, who was a Democrat, tried to exterminate the Native Americans.
Yeah, the Democrats. No good has come from the Democrats. No good. All bad throughout the history of the Democrat Party. That's right.
I mean, think about and this thing with Bragg. Think about this. I mean, I'm thinking, why would he tell them to go away for a month if not to say, okay?
Because he's trying to save face. He's trying to save face. He's embarrassed. He's humiliated. He's probably ticked off at Soros even. And he can't. I mean, they're telling us you can indict a ham sandwich. It means that, well, not apparently not. They've been trying hard to get an indictment, and I think the grand jury was going to indict Trump, but when a spotlight was put on what they were, because they're Democrats, it's New York, But when the spotlight was put on them, they're like, we better not do this. This is too corrupt.
Yeah, this is too corrupted. I mean, but again. Does corruption and the Democrats go hand in hand? Doesn't it?
Absolutely. Have you seen the new James O'Keefe? James O'Keefe has his new video from his new group, and it is a good. Have you seen it? I'm going to talk about it in a little bit. It's very good.
But this Bragg guy, I mean, he is just another failure for the Democrats. I mean. Yeah, they try. Soros put all this money into trying to get these secretaries of states and AGs and all this stuff.
What's the name of his media group? O'Keefe Media Group. That's exactly right. Hey, listen, Mike. Appreciate the call, Mike from Louisiana. A very good caller. I'm not going to read that message that a listener sent about him because I don't want. It was cruel. It was cruel. I mean, gee whiz. James O'Keefe has his first story post Project Veritas, and his organization name is perfect, right? O'Keefe Media Group seems like a mouthful, but what he calls it is OMG, which I think is pretty good. OMG, and he goes James O'Keefe with OMG. I like that a lot. I think that's pretty clever. He's a smart guy, James O'Keefe, and. I've been a fan of James O'Keefe since the first time I heard of him, which is when he did that Acorn expose. And his new thing that he's doing, I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But his first story from OMG, James O'Keefe, that he released is frightening. In fact, it's one of his most frightening stories since the Acorn expose. Tell you the truth. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, I guess they surrendered before they even began. Well, let me see here. I got so much to get into today, and I don't have too much time. Well, I'll tell you about the James O'Keefe thing, and then I'll take a break, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff, because it won't take long to talk about the James O'Keefe story. James O'Keefe got a list of Democrat donors, regular people like you and me. And some of these people have donated to Democrats and Democrat causes in the very high six figures. Some of them have made hundreds, even thousands of individual donations. And James O'Keefe went to their homes, knocked on their doors, and asked them if they made these donations. And they all said no. Now, they are liberal Democrats who have made Democrat donations. And it's a little complex and hard to understand. And maybe it's not hard to understand. Maybe I just don't know how to articulate what he did. But what he did is he calls it a money laundering racket that he uncovered. And what he covered up, what he exposed, actually not covered up, what O'Keefe exposed in his first expose with his new media organization was this. The Democrats passed all this campaign finance laws restricting how much people can donate, how many times people can donate, how much companies and organizations can donate. You know all these stories. It's ridiculous. You should be able to give. It's your money. You should be able to give all of it to someone, as much as you want. It's your money. But Democrats, they pushed all this campaign finance reform with the maverick, John McCain. And what they're doing to get around that is they take small donors, like one woman that James O'Keefe found. She's a hardcore, lifelong Democrat, old lady. She donates $5 every once in a while to the Democrats. So what they've done, they go to her, they get her off the Democrat donor list, and then they make like 500 other donations, over 6 figures worth, in her name, and to get around the campaign finance laws, even though she didn't make them. And, when you see things like that, we're so honest. We're law and order types in the Republican Party. And when you see what the Democrats do, how do we beat that? How do we beat that? When you're going up against people that are so dishonest as they are, who do all these things, like James O'Keefe exposed in his first story with the O'Keefe Media Group, OMG, I almost feel like it's hopeless for us, And even though James O'Keefe released his first story, it hasn't gotten that much coverage, has it? The establishment shut him down. They took over Project Veritas. And I hope he's got good funding and can do a lot of great reporting with his new media organization. And I think he chose a good one to start. And that was one I was not expecting. I was pretty blown away by what he showed. I'll tell you a quick thing here before we break, because it's unrelated to the news and the politics, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. And then after the break, I'll get back into the news stories. If you've listened to me over the many years I've been doing this, the radio stations I've been at over the years have progressively moved into nicer neighborhoods. Like right now, we're like in a very ritzy area here, right? I mean, where we are. And if you remember, like when I first started this, the radio station that I was at, you guys may remember. See, I've always been on either overnights or in the mornings. So I'm out there at these bizarre hours of the night, oftentimes when the night becomes the day. There was where one of our old radio station was, you may remember, it gave me great things to talk about. I was at a stoplight down the street from the radio station, and I had my windows down because I have my windows down in the morning to help wake me up. A guy comes up next to me. His windows are down too. I'm at a red light down the street from the radio station. And he asked if I wanted, he said it in a crude way, but he asked if I wanted oral sex from him. I couldn't believe it. There was another time at the radio station, I stopped off to get gas. I go inside the gas station to get some coffee, and it was being robbed as I walked in by a guy with a knife. Yeah, I walked in on an armed robbery. And of course, I'd go on the air right from these places and talk about it. And I was talking about the armed robbery, and the guy that worked in the gas station was listening. He called me on the air. We had a great conversation. He chased the robber down the street. He was crazy. It wasn't his gas station. There was the one time I went to, there was a Dunkin' Donuts by the one of the old radio stations I used to go to all the time. And there was a gay bar down the street, and the gay bar was closing as I was coming to work. And there would sometimes be like male prostitutes at the Dunkin' Donuts. And I saw these guys who were like the age I am now, trying to get an underage prostitute to leave with him. And he wouldn't do it, and said one of the crudest things I've ever heard someone say. He said, "You never had a man blank, the blank, the blank." And then the mouth was used in that context. I know, pretty brutal. So but now we're in a fancy area. And today I missed my exit, and I got off at an exit north of where I normally would go. And I went to this Starbucks in a very, very rich area. In fact, the coffee cost $1 more a cup there per cup. There was a woman there. I don't know. She's about 30, 35 years old. She was wearing yoga clothes, and not a full length. I don't know what you call these, but she was wearing yoga clothes. She was like on the way to the gym. She had her sneakers on, the yoga pants. She was doing her stretches, but she was wearing a mink coat. I'm not kidding. It wasn't a full length one. It was like the ones that go to the waist. I couldn't believe on the way to do her. I know. So we're in a much fancier area now than we used to be in, as you could tell. And it was so bizarre to me. I don't know what you call a fur coat that only goes to the waist. I guess you call it a fur coat as opposed to a full-length full coat. I don't know. But we're moving on up. I must tell you, if I saw her like at the coffee shop where the old radio station was, I would have thought she was a prostitute. Now I know she's just some very wealthy lady who's got a very wealthy sugar daddy husband living on a golf course somewhere down the street. But I mean, and it was an expensive fur coat. I'm here to tell you, I don't know too much about fur coats, but I could tell that one was expensive. And by the way, this is Florida. Who is wearing a fur coat in Florida? Right? It was like 89 degrees yesterday. Very bizarre. But I know, pretty crazy. It's a fancy area, people, we're in here. All right, we'll take our break and be right back.
The cold, hard.
I know, it's very bizarre. Very bizarre.
Morning, 6 to 9, right here on the Steve Kane Show. Attention wine lovers and travel.
Very bizarre. And she's doing these stretches with her legs, you know, while she's waiting with the mink coat. I'm like, this is so strange. South Florida is full of characters. Yeah. I that was pretty strange. Attention seeker. Yeah. A leather long coat. Really? Let me see. There's something I want to. There's some audio I want to play that I did not take off to play. So let me see if I can. I got to cue this up. Well, today's Thursday. I don't know if it's mink. I don't know about fur coats, so I don't know what the furs come from. Now, that other place, we were just in a bad neighborhood. Those of you that were listening back then, you probably remember some of that stuff. It's crazy times. The jacket just went down to the waist. This is going to be a mess to do, but I'm going to try to do this. A fur jacket? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, when I walked in, I saw her with the fur. I'm like, this is so strange. This is Florida, and she's wearing like fur. And then I go in, and she's like got the yoga clothes on, and she's doing the stretches. And I saw her like from behind, and I was like, I wanted to see what she looked like, because she's obviously got some very rich husband. You know, she's got all very, humongous wedding ring on. And I'm thinking, you know, this must be like the hottest. She was like thin and everything. I thought she must, you know, she turned around. She was not even good looking. I don't know. I was like, you know. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. So Fox News had a poll. Did you see this? Oh, I'm going to play you some audio. I did not pull this audio up and edit it or anything, so it's going to be a little rough. But I meant to do it and forgot. On Brett Baer's show last night, they shared the new GOP presidential nominee preference poll. And President Trump is 30 points ahead of Ron DeSantis in the latest Fox News poll. 30 points ahead. And I know, isn't that great news? And they're so depressed about it. And I wanted to pull this audio and edit it down so I could just play you some of the clips, but I forgot to do that. So I'm just going to play it in its entirety. Yeah, they're like clinically depressed over this. But before I do that, I want to tell you guys about my chiropractor, Dr. Appleton, and his laser away pain treatment. You know, here we are, and it's raining, right? It's been raining today. You know, before Dr. Appleton rid me of my arthritis pain, I would be hurting today because my arthritis would be acting up. Why? Because it's damp. And that's when arthritis really hurts. And boom, the arthritis gone. One treatment gone, many months, 6 months or so, and it has not returned. It's absolutely amazing. This is one of those days where I'd be taking a leave all day, or Tylenol before Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. His laser away pain treatment works. It works. I tell you guys all the time, it works. If you're suffering from pain, you don't have to. Go see Dr. Appleton. He's a chiropractic physician, and his laser away pain treatment is completely painless. There are no injections, no drugs, no surgery, no downtime, and it works on all kinds of pain. Knee pain like I've had, tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis. I don't even know what that is, but it works on that. Neck injuries, back injuries, post-surgical swelling, repetitive motion injury, rotary tears, herniated disc. If you've got pain, Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment can help you. Do what I did. Go see him. He's open Monday through Saturday. No appointment is necessary, and walk-ins are welcome. All right? Because Dr. Appleton knows when you're in pain, you need help, you need relief, you need it now. Give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Online, AppletonChiro.com, and say bye-bye to your pain. All right. So the Fox News, they had this poll, and it was Brett Baer covered it. New Fox News poll, the 2024 GOP presidential nominee preference, and President Trump has a 30-point lead over the number 2, Ron DeSantis. Isn't that something? A 30-point lead over Ron DeSantis. It's amazing. And Brett Baer and his panel, they're depressed over it. Now, I'm going to play this, and it may be a little rough, as I said, because I'm just playing this offline. I didn't edit it or anything, but I'll do my best. Listen to the depression. Brett Baer, the confusion.
Former president, 54-24, 30 points over Ron DeSantis, and more than 50 points over Nikki Haley, as you're looking at these new poll numbers.
Did you hear that? Over 50 points. Oh, I hit the button, messed up. But go back. He's over 50 points ahead of Nikki Haley. So, I mean, that means Nikki Haley's not even. How can you be 50 points behind? I've heard of coming from behind, but that's a little much. Is it not working now? What am I doing? See what I mean? This is why I edit the audio in the morning. Hold on, I'll get it going. Live radio, people. Bear with me.
It's widening the lead for the former president, 54-24, 30 points over Ron DeSantis, and more than 50 points over Nikki Haley, as you're looking at these new poll numbers. With that, let's bring in our panel. Fox News Chief Political Analyst Britt Hume.
Oh, yeah, Britt's going to love it.
Congressional reporter for...
Do you hear how depressed he sounds?
For the Washington Examiner. Britt, Nikki Haley may say that it's all going to come together and there's 75%, but you look at these numbers, not only our poll, but other polls, it's an expanding lead for the former president.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's pretty early, Brett.
It's pretty early.
But the lead has expanded noticeably. It was, 15 points or so in our earlier poll. Now it's 30 for Trump. Now, I don't know how firm that is or how hard that is in terms of sentiment. But anybody looking at that now as a Republican Republican candidate would have to find it pretty daunting to see a guy.
Yeah. See now, can you hear the depression in the what you're hearing? You know what you're hearing? You're hearing your Brett Baer's program is your local televised Trump derangement syndrome support group.
among some Republicans who want the party to move on from Trump,
Who?
that there's kind of a head-to-head matchup now with Ron DeSantis. And so far, DeSantis is not even formally running, but that doesn't exist. Trump is enormously popular, far more so than DeSantis in the Republican Party across the country.
Yes, that's the way it is. 30 points ahead of Governor DeSantis. They're just, I mean, the mood. And in the video, when you see it on television, you see it in their faces. Their faces are like, You know, I'm going to talk about one thing in a little bit. There's two stories where Ron DeSantis has lost big. Disney beat Ron DeSantis. And this just came out yesterday. I'm going to get into this after the top of the hour, go through this article. And I am shocked. Ron DeSantis took their government away. Well, Disney pulled something, and Disney beat Ron DeSantis. He lost against Disney. And that's a pretty surprising thing for him to lose against Disney. I'm going to get into that, Governor DeSantis. And there's another thing that he promised us that he's lost on that I'm going to share with you too, coming up in the next hour. But, you know, Donald Trump is 30 points ahead of his closest rival, Ron DeSantis. That means, and 50 points ahead of Nikki Haley. That means DeSantis and Nikki Haley are not viable candidates. There is only one viable candidate. Now, with that being said, you know, one thing, Richie the bus driver brought this up a few weeks ago, and he made a very good point, Richie. He said, you know, we in the last election, Trump ran unopposed. There were no Republican debates, so there was no television coverage. So we want debates. We want loser Republicans to run against President Trump, so we get televised Republican debates that are carried on all the networks so that Trump can be seen and people can hear what he's going to do and why they should vote for him. They're not going to carry the Trump rallies, but they'll carry the debates. So I kind of want, I got mixed feelings about this, but I kind of want Ron DeSantis to announce he's running, because the left and the mainstream media have all their hopes behind Ron DeSantis. They will cover those debates. They'll do the debates and everything else with the hope that Ron DeSantis will be able to cream Trump, which he won't do. But we need to have debates so that Trump can get the television coverage that the Democrats are going to get, okay? That's why they're going to have people run against Biden. They want to have the television coverage. So we need to have opponents of Trump in the primary so we get those televised debates. Now, after the top of the hour, DeSantis lost everything with Disney. This is not being widely reported or widely understood, but the wokesters at Disney 100% defeated Ron DeSantis. I'm not kidding. It's not hype and it's not spin. In fact, when I saw this story yesterday afternoon, I had to read it a couple times to accept it. I couldn't believe that they bested Ron DeSantis. And this is very significant because Ron DeSantis, his biggest accomplishment other than, you know, getting Florida through COVID, which is pretty big, okay? But his biggest policy move has been taking Disney's government away from them, the Reedy Creek, right? Taking their self-governance away. Well, he didn't. They did something. I'm going to get into it after the break. So that's his biggest political move, and he lost. And you know who he lost to? He lost to the loser that they fired, Chapek, who was running the company that got fired. He lost to those California wokesters. So if he's losing to Disney, how's he going to take on Putin? How's he going to take on China if he can't even win against the wokesters at Disney? So I'm going to get into that after the break. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 46 years on the radio, The Steve Kane Show. Our number toll free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. Yeah. Did they report in the news that DeSantis lost to Disney? He lost big time. Wait till you hear. 888-465-2631. We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be back right after this.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK.
Yeah, I got two different reports on this. I'm going to read them because it's a little complex. But Disney kicked Ron DeSantis's butt big time. If it wasn't for Bragg's grand jury on Trump falling apart, it would have been the thumbnail of the video. This Disney thing. Oh man. Welcome. If you're new to my channel, subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk if you're new here. And please, guys, there's over 1,100 in the live stream. Please like the video. Liking the video gets this video and my other videos recommended to people who have not yet found my channel. And that helps me out a lot, guys. No, he totally got smoked by Disney. You'll see. I've got two stories I'm going to read through on this. One's from a local news station, and the other one's a national story. But and they did what they did. They did it without DeSantis even knowing that they did it. It's amazing. Hold on, where am I? Got to pull the articles up. Wow. Yeah, Mandalorian season 3 is pretty good. Star Trek Picard's been good this season. I didn't like the first episode or two, but the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Picard are not even watchable. But this season's pretty good, I must say. Amanda Plummer's the villain. I interviewed her once when she was doing when Pulp Fiction was out. That's how long ago it was. Amanda Plummer. She was really cool. I was so excited. I had my Pulp Fiction soundtrack CD with me, and I still have it. She signed it. Amanda Plummer signed her picture on it. Cobra. I got kind of tired of Cobra Kai. The first season, it was like the best show I've ever seen in my life. Second season was good, but I haven't watched the last season or two. I got kind of, I think it went on too long. I think that was a 1 or 2 season show. I think they should have done it where Ralph Macchio's wife wasn't, whoever this woman is, was either Elizabeth Shue, the Chinese girl from Karate Kid 2, or the girl from Karate Kid 3. You know? But the first season, the only criticism I would have of the first season of Cobra Kai is they had Ed Asner play Johnny's stepfather. I can't stand Ed Asner. You got to watch it from the beginning. Oh my goodness. It was so good. Kathy and I, we watched the first 3 Karate Kids over. Yeah, that actor that plays Johnny, he deserves to have a success. That guy, he didn't have the career he deserved. Remember, he was also in Just One of the Guys. Do you guys remember Just One of the Guys? What else was he in? The guy that plays Johnny Lawrence. Just one of the guys. I love that movie. Back to School. That's right. He was in Back to School. There we go.
Back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Welcome back, everyone. We were talking about Cobra Kai during the break. So Governor DeSantis got completely whooped by Disney. This is insane. So the new poll, President Trump is 30 points ahead of Ron DeSantis in the Fox News poll. And Fox, I haven't looked at the methodology of the Fox News poll. In the Fox News poll, they hate Trump. They won't carry the rallies. In fact, which night did Hannity have the first night of the Hannity interview? Which night? Was that Tuesday? Monday night, Tuesday night? Whichever it was, Hannity had a perfect interview with President Trump. It was one of the best interviews of President Trump I have seen. And certainly maybe Sean Hannity's best interview. It was Monday night. Tuesday, they spent all day on Fox trashing the interview. Oh, they did. And if you watch those on Fox all day on Tuesday and started that night with Miranda Devine and Lincoln Project, Laura Ingraham, they were very upset at President Trump for the things he said about Governor DeSantis. That's what really freaked him out, right? He was their boy. So when Fox News has a poll come out yesterday that has Donald Trump 30 points ahead of DeSantis, Fox News was really promoting DeSantis. I guess they're dropping him now, but they had to load that poll up to get the best result for DeSantis as possible. And even in a Trump-hating place, he's 30 points ahead. So he's probably really like 40 points ahead or 45 points ahead. But Ron DeSantis, his biggest accomplishment, I'm vamping while I'm pulling up the story. Okay, I got the story here. His biggest accomplishment, other than, of course, saving Florida during COVID, which is pretty big, is taking on Disney. And just to give you a quick recap of what he did, Disney, back in the 60s, Walt Disney was a Republican, anti-union, good Republican guy. And he came to Florida for a number of reasons. But one of the reasons he came to Florida is the governor at the time was a Republican. And Walt Disney was a Republican. They probably knew each other through that. And the Republican governor of Florida made a great deal with Disney so that they could have their own government. They had their own city, Reedy Creek, there with a fake city council. And they give themselves building permits and everything for everything they do at these theme parks. And they have the ability to tax. Do you know that Disney, through Reedy Creek, has the clearance to build an international airport, sporting stadiums, and they can even build, if Disney wanted to, they could build a nuclear power plant to power Walt Disney World. They have everything because they got their own government. That was all part of it. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good deal. And then they got all woke, and what had happened, libs of TikTok and others had some information that leaked out of Disney on their woke stuff. And there was a meeting with the Disney Entertainment Division, a Zoom meeting that leaked out, and it was really vile. What they were bragging about all the subliminal sexual things that they were putting in their cartoons and everything. And Ron DeSantis reacted and took away their self-governing ability. Right? That's the story. And it was completed just a few short weeks ago. And even I was celebrating Ron DeSantis beat Disney. And I love Disney. I'm an annual pass holder. I have an annual pass to Disney, which I keep, but no one else in my family has it. I keep mine because they don't give them out anymore. So I'm holding, because they may not ever sell them again. So I keep, it's very cheap, but I got it. And I've been an annual pass holder at Disney for many, many years. The thing with the story, it's not true. DeSantis was beaten by Disney, and I just found this out yesterday, and it's really amazing. This is the headline. Disney just pulled a Game of Thrones move on DeSantis with a bizarre royal mortality clause. Listen to this. The Great Disney World versus Florida Governor Ron DeSantis war has seen plenty of twists and turns, but here's one that invokes the British royal family. In February, the Florida House of Representatives passed a bill to take control of Disney World's special tax district, ending decades of Walt Disney operating the park under a self-governance status. However, the Orlando Sentinel is reporting that on February 8th, the day before the Florida legislature installed the DeSantis-appointed Florida Tourism Oversight District, the board of the Disney Tax District executed a power move worthy of House Tyrell, which, of course, is from Game of Thrones. So the day before the state of Florida took over, this tax district, which still had authority, did this. Disney approved a 30-year development agreement that renders the DeSantis governing board completely 100% powerless. Under the agreement, Disney can build whatever they want at any height. They could do whatever they want on their land, all without any approval from the governor's board. The board is even banned from using the name Disney or any Disney characters in their meetings or conversations. So Disney still has their own government, and they set it up for the next 30 years. See, DeSantis made a mistake. He didn't just go in, and he should have just gone in and do it. He should have just gone in and done the thing, gone in there and take it from him, but he didn't. He spent a year bragging about it. And the guy that runs Disney right now is he's a very very well-connected Democrat, and he's a pretty smart guy. And he came up with this scheme, and they smoked DeSantis. He lost against Disney. And I know this may seem minor right now. It may seem, and it's a little complex to understand, and I don't even fully understand what happened. But if the guy's running for president of the United States, his biggest victory was actually a defeat, and believe me, this will be clarified hardcore in a presidential campaign. It'd be devastating for Ron DeSantis. And he lost, and the reason he lost this with Disney and Disney won against DeSantis is because what he did the same thing he did last week. When this Bragg business was going on with Trump, and DeSantis came out and said Trump's on his own, that was his ego and immaturity taking effect. And he went out there and said some things that have cost him his entire political future, right? He's immature, and he doesn't have self-control. And that's the same thing that cost him this with Disney. If he would not have spent a year bragging about what he was going to do to Disney and just did it, he would have won. But he's got an ego, and he had to go around bragging for a year. So Disney, which was very quiet for that year, came up with a way to smoke him, and they did, and they won. So woke Disney is still run by woke Disney, and Governor DeSantis has no authority over them. It's really amazing. You know, as much as you may hate Disney, you got to respect them for this move. That's pretty amazing. Do you think they would have been able to pull that with Trump? I don't think so. All right, let's take our first break of the hour. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-K1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Bragg on Oldies 95.9 and 106.9.
This is Lori King. When people go to the dentist, they think of the pain, but the biggest pain is the cost. Not with Dr. Group Lab Bragg Dental Care. The dental work is painless, and the prices are painless too. Call today, 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
Oh, it's even worse. I'm reading another story from the local news in Orlando. It's even worse. Yeah, they kicked Ron DeSantis's butt.
This week we examine how communities are losing home rule as the state centralizes regulations. Palm Beach Drama Works produces August Sage County. LA Palm Beach conjures
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Stories in Florida Weekly. Available throughout Palm Beach County. Available online at floridaweekly.com. You're a Florida homeowner, and you know that real estate is selling for the highest prices ever. With so many listing their house, you want your house to stand out above the rest and to get top dollar. That's where
this is so bizarre.
comes in. She's with Ballesteri Real Estate. Has been in business since 1964, working with homeowners, buyers, landlords, and tenants.
This is very confusing.
Elena Castro knows Florida real estate and has a proven record of smooth transactions, as well as top negotiation talents. When you list your property with Elena Castro, she knows the right listing price to get you multiple offers, so you accept the offer you want. And if you're looking to buy, she can help you with that too. Give Elena Castro a call right now. 954-478-5015. 954-478-5015. Need your house listed and sold for the price you want. 954-478-5015. 954-478-5015.
Wow. Ace of Base. I haven't heard Ace of Base in a while. I'm not reading from the Orlando Sentinel. The Orlando Sentinel first reported it.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show.
All right, welcome back, everyone. And of course, I'm going to tell you guys on how to get the greatest night's sleep you've ever had. And that, of course, with the great new MyPillow 2.0 with cooling technology. Mike Lindell, he's the Thomas Edison of sleep. He invented the MyPillow. That patented fill inside is amazing. And, you know, that patented fill, what the patented fill inside the MyPillow does that makes it so you sleep so well is your head and neck fit perfectly in the pillow so you don't toss and turn. And when you toss and turn, even if you're not awake or realize that you have woken up, you've interrupted your REM sleep. And Mike Lindell has come out with the MyPillow 2.0, which is an improvement on the MyPillow that started it all. It still has that patented fill inside, but it's made with a new material that has cooling technology. And the cooling technology makes it so that your head, your face never get hot or warm at night. You will never flip your pillow because it's too hot ever again. I've been sleeping on mine for over a month, and I love it. My wife loves hers too. And my wife's telling me that it's great for women who are going through menopause because you get hot at night, and that MyPillow 2.0, you're not getting hot. It's amazing. And right now, it's buy one, get one free, the MyPillow 2.0 with the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. It's a very good deal. Now, you can take advantage of all the specials at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, not just the ones I highlight, but the MyPillow 2.0 is absolutely amazing. It is a life changer. And, you know, I don't have much time to sleep at night, and I get up early in the morning. So those few hours I get need to be as well rested, good sleep as possible. And I look how energetic I am with about 4 hours sleep, maybe 4.5, you know, because I was up late watching Gettysburg with my wife last night. That movie's 4.5 hours long. I didn't finish Gettysburg. I'll finish it tonight. But yeah, I got about 4.5 hours sleep. And hear how energetic I am? It's because the MyPillow 2.0, which is buy one, get one free. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. Well, it's even worse for DeSantis than I thought. I'm reading a news story from on how Disney beat DeSantis on the website of one of the local television stations in Orlando. Oh my goodness. They not only did Disney stick it to DeSantis and win, they stuck DeSantis with the expenses. Okay. So let me read it. This is from WFTV, local news in the Orlando area, up in Orange County. In the final days of controlling the Reedy Creek Improvement District's board, Disney executives and Disney attorneys found a way to poison the authority of the incoming members appointed by Governor DeSantis. On February 8th, as the Florida House was passing legislation to give Governor DeSantis his new power over Disney's governmental district, the current Reedy Creek board members signed a development agreement with the company that allowed Disney maximum power over its territory for the next 30 years. According to the new board members, who are now known as the Central Florida Tourism Oversight Board, Disney is allowed the maximum possible density and building heights inside Walt Disney World. Other owners inside the area will need permission from Disney to do anything. It goes on and on. So they got control of everything, right? The Ron DeSantis board, this is what one board member said. We lost control over everything other than maintaining the roads and maintaining the infrastructure. Oh, my goodness. Ron DeSantis, how is Ron DeSantis going to go up against Putin in Ukraine? How's he going to talk to Kim Jong-un and stop him? Rocket Man. How's he going to do it? When he got beat by Mickey Mouse? Do you get what that part just was? So Disney maintains their entire government control. Ron DeSantis, the only thing they're in control of are the things that cost money, maintaining the roads and the infrastructure. And, Disney has their own fire department, for example, as part of their infrastructure. Governor DeSantis, now he has to pay the bill for the fire department. Now that was a big expense for Disney. The roads, Disney has spent, now Disney doesn't have to pay to maintain the roads. DeSantis does. And you know what? I don't think Governor DeSantis knew about this until we learned about it in the paper. And they added something very strange. The Disney board placed restrictions on this Reedy Creek Disney district until 21 years after. This is so bizarre. Okay. So this means Disney is going to control. This next part is so strange, but so smart. One section the board members passed, okay, keeps Disney in control of the entire area without Florida or the governor's board having any say until 21 years after the death of the last surviving descendant of King Charles. So that means like Harry and Meghan, they got their little babies. So Disney has control until 21 years after King Charles' final descendant dies. Well, that could be 500 years. I know, I'm reading this. It's in the news. It's in the local news story in Orange County in Orlando. So Disney, not only has Disney maintained permanent control, there will always be a descendant of King Charles. Isn't that bizarre? It is confusing, but it's also not. So Disney maintained control of their entire government district, including the building and all of that, the building codes and the building inspectors. The only thing Governor DeSantis has responsibility over is paying to maintain the roads and the fire department. Anything that costs money, DeSantis, he was just destroyed. I've never seen, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when President Trump made that deal with Merv Griffin and sold him that worthless hotel in Jersey. Remember that? Long time ago. Merv Griffin thought he was a big businessman because he made a bunch of money off Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy and was going to go into some kind of tourism business. And he made a big deal with President Trump, and President Trump smoked him in that. He bought a condemned old hotel, Merv Griffin. Remember that? I don't remember all the details. It's been a long time, but I watched when it was going on. NBC or one of those networks did a whole hour-long special on it, and Donald Trump smoked it. Donald Trump this would not have happened. Disney wouldn't have won anything. But Ron DeSantis is humiliated here. He is completely humiliated by Disney. You know, part of the reason this is because, you know, why did he get smoked? It's because President Trump, okay, has raised the bar of the expectation of the American people for our public officials. What happened with Disney and DeSantis here, as humiliating as it is how government people typically handle things. People that spend their lives working for the government don't know anything. I don't care if they went to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, or Oxford, and all of them, okay? They don't know anything. They have no practical experience. And people that spend their life working for the government are incompetent by nature. And I really don't think DeSantis knew that he lost to Disney until this came out in the news yesterday afternoon. He may have found out about it right before, because maybe the media called him. The Orlando Sentinel may have called the governor's office for a comment, but I don't think they knew. I didn't know about it, and I've been following this very closely. Oh, my goodness. All right. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take some calls after the break. So this is really, this is like DeSantis's Benghazi here. I mean, this was his biggest thing, and he failed. Just failed. 1-888-GO-KANE-1. It's a toll-free call. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. And don't forget, if you miss a part of the show or you miss a show, about an hour each day after we go off the air, the entire show is uploaded as a podcast on our radio station website, and it's archived there forever. TrueOldiesFLA.com. That's TrueOldiesFLA.com. TrueOldiesFLA.com. Call us on hold, stand by. Back after this. I mean, you got to respect Disney. Bob Iger at Disney. You got to respect Disney for this. This is a masterful chess move. I mean, my goodness. Oh, DeSantis has got to be pissed. It's in the local papers and news in Florida. I haven't seen it really in the national news. No. Yeah.
He just talked about how he's not used to losing and all that.
Oh yeah, he's losing all the time now. It's caught up to him. I mean, my God, that's just naivete. Yeah, they're like the Vatican. Yes. And until 21 years after the last descendant of King Charles dies. How did they get that in there? Who thinks like that? Thanks, Wesley. Because of the publicity of this debacle, DeSantis will have no choice. He's not running. Yeah. It's a hard thing to explain. You know, it's a really difficult thing to explain. This is just insane. Oh, my goodness. It's been a bad couple of weeks for Governor DeSantis. That's why he's 30 points behind in the polls. You know, the reason I say it's his Benghazi, this is what I mean by that. Hillary Clinton had been going around on her husband's coattails her whole life, and they're acting like she's so smart, so brilliant. She's incompetent. And the Benghazi disaster was the first time Hillary Clinton had any executive responsibility for anything, and it was a complete failure. And the same thing goes for DeSantis here. Oh, okay. Same thing goes for DeSantis here. You know, this is like his first big thing. Let me see. Oh my goodness. Oh man. I would rather listen. I mean, I'll ask you guys. I'll throw this out on the air. I would rather Ron DeSantis lose to Disney and not be electable in the future than squeak by, become president, and lose to Putin, Kim Jong Un, and China. You know what I mean? Disney and Bragg saved us from DeSantis because they exposed him. Oh well, Patrick. Sorry for reporting the news. Mm. What a great day. Well, listen. Disney has their own government, so they that King Charles thing was just insane. I mean, there's, the guy that runs Disney, Bob Iger, he worked as a producer on the Wide World of Sports back in the Howard Cosell days. And he set up the first Wide World of Sports broadcast from North Korea. So he knows. Yeah, this is the microphone I use for YouTube on my glasses. This is a guy who knows how to deal with politicians and get things done. We're not. DeSantis is trashing himself. Yeah. All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. And I got to tell you, the last week and a half, I've never seen a politician, an elected official, who is the top guy, fall from grace so fast. I mean, you would not, you wouldn't have a fall from grace this fast if you were found trying to proposition a man in a men's room for sex. That's happened to some politicians. What's happened to DeSantis in the last week and a half, we've never seen someone at the top fall so quickly. Now, if you're just tuning in, just do a quick recap what we talked about today. Bragg cleared Trump. I was talking about that a lot. But this new thing that I was talking about in the last segment is DeSantis lost to Disney big time, okay? The only thing he has control of is paying for the Disney Fire Department, which is a great expense, millions a year. And that is a real large fire department with paramedics and everything. And he has to pay to maintain the roads of Disney. And remember, Disney is the size of Manhattan. So there's a lot of roads and a big old fire department. Disney has maintained control of their own governance board forever until they passed this before the DeSantis thing went through, and it's done and sealed, and forever. In fact, they have stronger control now than before DeSantis. And as crazy as this sounds, Bragg in New York and Disney here, well, it's the California branch of Disney where the corporate is, but Disney and Bragg, as crazy as this sounds, has saved us from Ron DeSantis. Because this is what I want you to understand. Would you rather DeSantis lose to Disney or Putin, the CCP, and Kim Jong-un? Because he would have lost to all those guys, beat Mickey Mouse. And we're in this is just amazing, this story. And that's why Donald Trump is 30 points ahead of Ron DeSantis in the latest Fox News poll. And people don't even know about this story. I hope it gets broadcast a little bit and people talk about this, because people don't understand what's going on here. There's one more DeSantis story that I want to share before we move on, because this one's upsetting to me. What I was looking forward to with Governor DeSantis was one thing big. Governor DeSantis promised us on more than one occasion that in the state of Florida, we would have open carry before he left office. And I support open carry. I know a lot of people don't. In fact, most gun owners I know do not support open carry. And I tell you that I support open carry in Florida for a lot of reasons. But the main reason is it's difficult to conceal a weapon in Florida because of the hot weather and how you dress. And you can tell when I'm out at the store or a gas station, I can tell the guys a mile away who's carrying. You know why? They're wearing button-up shirts, untucked, heavy and long, and everything else to cover up the gun. When you have a concealed weapons permit, if the weapon is not concealed 100%, you're in violation of the law. And that could mean a bump on your hip. If people can see that there's a bump on your hip, that's not concealed. You can get jammed up. And the Florida weather, the way we dress in Florida most of the year, it's hard to conceal. And I've been telling you guys that open carry was dead. And a lot of people have been saying, no, it's not, Brian. In fact, I got a text message during the show from someone yesterday that I'm friends with, and they say, no, it passed in the House. That's not true. Listen to this. The Florida House passed a bill that would allow people to carry concealed guns without a concealed weapons permit, but does not allow them to openly carry. Florida House lawmakers have passed a measure that would allow people to carry a concealed weapon without a permit or training, but the measure does not include open carry. There's a lot of concern among our caucus in the Senate about open carry because of tourism. I'm sure some of the sheriffs had concern about it, said Republican House Speaker Paul Renner, who passed this concealed carry without permit bill on Friday. He said, I would vote for it personally, but I think we landed in a spot where we got a bill. The House passed the measure along party lines on Friday. The legislation is expected to pass the Senate and then go to Governor DeSantis, who has expressed his support. At a recent book signing event, DeSantis told a gun rights advocate that he'd sign open carry in the law, but they're not sending him open carry. So we'll have concealed carry without a permit or training, and that's fine. You know, people are going to make a big deal about that. I've taken maybe half a dozen concealed weapon permit classes, and only 2 of them were good classes where you learn stuff. I remember the first one I took, the first concealed weapons class I took, I don't know, 15 or 20 years ago. We didn't learn anything. They just went through some things in a book, you know? So the concealed weapon permit classes that's not real gun training. It's a formality. They mean nothing. People learn nothing. And that's just the way it is. But so we'll have concealed carry without a permit. I'm all for that. You know, it's no big thing. I kind of like that myself. And I might carry if we do that from time to time, if I'm on a long drive or something. I don't know. I'm not carrying now, and I don't carry a weapon, but I might in the future. And yeah, more people will carry guns if you don't need a permit, and people get nervous about that. I wouldn't get nervous about it. There's so many, you wouldn't believe how many people are walking around in Florida with guns. You just wouldn't believe it. So many people are already. And I've never heard of too many problems with that, except, there's an isolated incident like Zimmerman, but that was over 10 years ago. Trayvon Martin, how long ago was that? Although George Zimmerman, he's like the father of Black Lives Matter because BLM was born out of what he did with Trayvon. So, but he'll sign it. We'll have it. But that's a big defeat too, because he had been talking, and this is a big deal. DeSantis has been talking since his first run for governor that he was going to give us open carry in Florida. It's usually referred to, he calls it constitutional carry, that we were going to have open carry in Florida in his second term. And here we are, and we're not going to have it. And they said they can't pass it. Well, here's the problem with that. Florida's House and Senate are both Republican. In fact, it's not only is it Republican, the Florida House and Senate have been Republican since 1998, and this is a very conservative state, Florida. We have some isolated Democrat counties, Palm Beach, Broward, Orange County, but it's a Republican state. So here you have this. I want you to think about just this week, the defeats Ron DeSantis has had. Two big ones. So he got whipped by Disney, which I've been talking about, right? Now, DeSantis cannot even get the Republican House and the Republican Senate to pass open carry. If he can't beat Disney, I told you he can't beat Kim Jong-un, he can't beat Putin, he can't beat China. And if he can't get in one of the most, if not the most conservative state in the union, if he can't get the Republican Senate and legislature in Tallahassee to pass open carry, how's he going to deal with Washington and that Congress, especially if he were president and Democrats controlled one of the houses? And you know what we have? This pains me to say this, and I want to open up the phones to this. Okay, I want to hear your calls on this. What we have in Ron DeSantis is a spokesmodel, basically, an actor, a poser. He's not any of the things that we thought he was. Can't beat Disney. Sold out Trump last week. 30 points behind in the Fox News poll. And he can't get the Republican legislature, which is all controlled by Republicans here in Florida and Tallahassee, to pass, which should be not even a controversial thing for Republicans to pass, open carry. Come on. And I want to hear your thoughts on this. Is Ron DeSantis the kind of guy that you think should be the president when you see what's happened in the last week? 1-888-GO-KANE 1. 888-465-2631. I mean, this is insane what we're seeing with Ron DeSantis. I'm in shock at the level of incompetence with this guy. I really am. And I'd be saying this even if he hadn't sold out Trump last week and exposed himself as to who he really is. Laura Loomer tweeted the other day, I missed this. Do you know Karl Rove referred to Ron DeSantis's campaign as our campaign on Fox News Live the other day? Yeah, that's what Laura Loomer put on Twitter. All right, we'll take our break and be back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
All right, it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Doing all right. What do you have for us today?
I'm good. I'm not sure if I'm hearing you well, but today is opening day for baseball, and our national pastime. We'll see how this new pitch clock works. But when it comes to baseball, we all want our team to do well and hit the home runs and avoid the errors. And using that analogy towards the state planning, with the state planning, we want to avoid having errors, and we want our plan to work, and we want to win at the end as well. So avoiding errors, what kind of errors? Well, really, we don't want to have an incomplete plan. And to me, an incomplete plan is a plan where number one, you're in danger of losing your assets during your lifetime. If you lose your assets during your lifetime, then what does it matter who you name to do what and who gets what, because it's all gone anyway. So when we say lose your assets, I'm talking about losing your assets due to the cost of long-term care, home care, assisted living, nursing homes. Very, very expensive. The other thing that can make your plan incomplete is if you're leaving your assets to your loved ones in a way that they could end up losing it due to divorce, lawsuits, creditors, and many other things. And then finally, another area you can make is having a trust, having everything done right, and then not funding it, because then your assets still go through probate. So there are a lot of errors that can be made, and that's what we want to try to help our clients avoid, so they have an estate plan that's going to work so that their family can win.
Absolutely. And that funding part is the most important, because anything not included in the trust goes through probate, which defeats the whole purpose of having the trust. Now, of course, Attorney Barry Siegel covers the entire state of Florida. So no matter where you're located in Florida, call the Siegel Law Group and they can help you. But Barry and the Siegel Law Group have offices in Broward, Palm Beach, and Dade, with their primary office, of course, in Boca Raton. When you call, tell them you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the radio, and you get a free consultation with the Siegel Law Group. The number, toll-free, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel will finish out the week tomorrow. All right, back after this.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right. We are back. I'm Brian, our number 1-888-GO-KANE-1. I mean, we have really found some very, very amazing things out about the incompetence of Ron DeSantis. And you know what I'm wondering? And I'm going to throw this out to you guys. So we've had the Florida legislature session. We've had two major defeats of Ron DeSantis, right? Disney and the open carry, both gone. So how this is an interesting thing, because when guns are popular in Florida, and I remember, I haven't seen this in a long time, and I don't even know if this is legal anymore. But when I first moved to Florida in the early 80s, when I was a kid, I used to see guys driving around with the shotguns in the racks in the back windows of their pickup trucks. I don't see that so much anymore. I don't know if that's legal. I don't know if it was legal then, but they were doing it. Guns have always been popular in Florida, and they're very popular now. In fact, we have people moving to Florida in humongous numbers. And when people move to Florida, one of the first things they do is go and buy a gun, because, they're in Florida, and then they get their concealed weapons permit. And open carry has been something that people have been talking about for years. There was a loophole, 30 years ago or so, that allowed open carry down in the Keys for a brief time. And I remember watching the news, and you'd see people walking in Key West with holsters with guns in them openly down the, it was pretty crazy at the southernmost point and everything. It was very brief. They closed it real quick. So how did Ron DeSantis lose open carry with the Republican Senate and Republican House in Tallahassee? And I was just thinking about it during the break, because it seems so strange that happened. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that Trump had something to do with it. I think Trump had something to do with it. And if he did, that's a good thing. If the governor is a spokesmodel, right? Meaning he's right out of central casting. He looks great. He's got the resume and says all the right things, but is incompetent. Both of these things happened without the Disney thing and this open carry are big parts of his agenda. Both of them happened really without, in the Disney case, without DeSantis even realizing it. And then the open carry in Tallahassee, that happened without him even getting involved. Maybe he's too busy talking to Piers Morgan. I don't know. But This story about the open carry failing in Tallahassee is hard to find. I had to go and look for it. And I first found out about it. A caller called and told me, and then I made a reference to it yesterday, and I got some messages from people that said, no. And I got a text from someone in particular, but I got some DMs from people. Oh no, it passed in the House. And I said, no, it did not. And it's dead in the Senate. It didn't pass it out. And so I went and looked up what exactly happened. And that's where I found this story. And I think President Trump is the one who did this. And I think, and it's a good thing that he did. I think President Trump and his people had a role in this, a big role, to show how incompetent Governor DeSantis is. You know, and if you can't get something so popular done in Florida with a MAGA Republican control of the government, you're hopeless in DC. It's just hopeless. You won't be able to get anything done. But, you know, that's what it used to be like. See, this is before Trump came down the escalator. This is what it was like to be a Republican. You know what it was like? Losing. Republicans never got anything done. And, you know, there was always the Republican Party platform, but they never accomplished anything on the Republican Party platform. And they never even really tried. So what's as incompetent as DeSantis is looking right now, he's really looking like a fool. I mean, both of these things happen right under his nose. And you know, with these things, you would have thought that he would go and take the lead. Like if the legislature would not pass open carry, you think he would take a break from talking to Pierce Morgan and meet with the Republican leaders in Tallahassee and say, no, we got to get this taken care of. But you know what? All he's thinking about is being president. And all these people who said, we don't want Ron to run for president, we need him as our governor. Is he really governing? Is he really paying attention? You know, this open carry thing might not seem like a big deal to a lot of you, but I've been waiting for it for a long time. And I know a lot of my friends have been waiting for it for a long time, 2 years before we even heard of Ron DeSantis. But he looks like a joke. And, you know, I don't believe he's electable anymore. I really don't believe Ron DeSantis is electable anymore. And for those of you that message me and give me a hard time about talking about Ron DeSantis, you know, I'm sorry. Not really. I mean, I'm glad this happened because he's not competent. I thought he was. He's great on TV and he knows what to say at a press conference and he handles the press well. But he got smoked by Disney. And he got smoked by Trump here with the open carry. So I don't know for sure about the Trump involvement with the open carry, but I think so. Because that should be able to pass without him even asking for it to pass. That should just automatically pass in Tallahassee. You know, in Florida, you don't have to wear a helmet on a motorcycle. Sounds crazy, huh? You know, I don't ride a motorcycle. I ride my scooter, but I wear a helmet. Okay. But Jeb Bush, he said, you know, when I'm governor, you elect me, you motorcycle riders, you won't have to wear helmets. And I thought that was crazy. And one of the first things he did when he became governor was do away with the helmet law. And all the motorcycle people loved Jeb. He did what he promised he would do. And I've been hearing about this from DeSantis since the first campaign, open carry. That's a popular thing in Florida, and he couldn't do it. All right, let's take some calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Wow, sad day for Ron DeSantis. Lots of bad news. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. Bob Reich.
Oh, hey, Bob. Doing good.
Well, my friend, I'm afraid you've pushed me a little too far.
Oh.
So let me explain. Number one, way back in Atlantic City days, and understand, I love Trump.
Oh,
but it
I
was
can tell.
Merv Griffin who cleaned Trump's clock.
He sold something. It's been a long time. It involved that. Whatever. Whatever. Oh yeah, 40 years ago. 40 years ago. No, Trump won. Trump won that deal, but it was 40 years ago, and I was like 15. I'll go back and look. Well, but I'll give you this. I'll give you this, Bob. Okay, I'll give you this, Bob. Trump may not have won 40 years ago. He may not have won something. Okay, you feel good now?
Brian, what bothers me is you got a very powerful show here, and sometimes you shoot from the hip.
Well, I'm not perfect, and I do make mistakes, Bob, and maybe I'm wrong about that. I'll give it to you. Trump may have lost 40 years ago. May have lost 40 years ago. You got that, Bragg? You guys feel good. So what about DeSantis? He got his clock cleaned by Disney this week. Can we talk about that?
Sure, Brian. I'm not the one who brought up Trump 40 years ago.
Oh, okay. So you don't want to talk. So you're pissed. You're pissed. Hold on. You're pissed. You're pissed that I'm attacking DeSantis.
Did I even talk about it yet? But yes.
Yes. Oh.
Okay. Yes. Because number one, what I heard you say is the legislators were concerned about all the tourists we get and what goes on in Miami Beach with all the nuts who come in. Yes, I understand that concern about open carry. Okay. It sounds fairly logical. And again, you don't know that Trump had anything to do with it.
I'm speculating.
Yes, you are only speculating.
So DeSantis had two big. Listen, Bob, Ron DeSantis had two big things. Now, Trump may have lost 40 years ago, but we know this. DeSantis lost big time in the last week. He got his clock cleaned. He got his clock cleaned by Disney.
Shouting me.
I'm not over shouting you. You just don't have any. Is this Greg too or Bob Reich? Bob, he got his clock. DeSantis got his clock cleaned by Disney. They're more powerful now than before.
Certainly sounds that way. Certainly sounds.
Okay. Then in the same week, he can't even get open carry passed in a MAGA Republican Florida Senate and House. Creamed again.
You can say it as loud as you want, but maybe the legislature was concerned about all the creeps coming down to Miami Beach and raising hell and have.
You can't walk around with a gun on your hip and booze in your hand and go into bars and stuff getting drunk. That would not apply. That's an excuse. No, he's incompetent.
No, wait a minute now. And I'm all for Trump, but gee whiz.
I can tell.
He stood up for, don't give me that. He stood up for
pissed
kids in the schools. What, that's nothing? When all this stuff is.
His two big agenda items he lost. And Disney stuck it to him. Disney snuck it in there that they're going to be in control until 21.
That matter at all.
He's done some good things, but he's lost his two big. He was humiliated by Disney, and he can't get the Republican legislature to pass his big agenda item.
It's nearly as important as it is.
Well, not to you.
Yes.
What's he done for kids?
More important.
What's he done for kids?
He's doing things in the schools.
Like what?
The schools, CRT and other things.
That's a good thing. Yes.
Good thing. And to me, it's more important than open carry.
No, I don't know about. I think they're both important.
A little more even-handed about.
What do you mean be even-handed? Ron DeSantis
attacking the guy on two issues when there are plenty of
big issues. Disney. That's his main issue. Bob, I'm up against the top. I got a break, but I'll give it to Bob. Trump may have lost something 40 some years ago. Maybe. Okay, we'll be back.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3.
He was pissed. He was pissed.
Injured recently? Call the Rogues Laundry, where winning is a habit. 561-570-5700. 561-570-5700. Rogues, winning for you and our community. Your home for the Steve Kane Show.
Greg's dad or something.
No, I know who he is. He used to be a sponsor. He sold his company. He never liked me. Back then it was worse because he would use that against me. You know. Yeah. Exactly. Greg, that's what Greg 2 says. Yes.
Now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
What do you think that Trump may have blown the open carry to expose DeSantis? No, they didn't introduce it. That's right. They didn't introduce open carry. DeSantis has been promising it for years to give us open carry. You know, open carry is Floridians have been waiting for that forever. People have been talking about there's only a few states that don't have open carry. We're one of them. It's both constitutional carry or open carry. It's both, means the same thing. You know, that's huge. If Trump were the governor and the legislature wouldn't pass that, he'd have the leaders come over to the governor's mansion and they'd hash it out and he'd get it done. I love pissed off callers. No, I want open carry. I've been looking forward to open carry for so long. I mean, how can I conceal carry when I'm wearing shorts and t-shirts and Hawaiian shirts, on my scooter? And what they're talking about with Miami Beach, they're talking about spring break, right? Most of them aren't even old enough to own a handgun. The difference is it's hard to conceal. D, you're up in Central Florida. It's cold. Down here, it's so freaking hot. I know I'm wearing a sweater now because the air conditioner and all that in the building. As soon as I get off the air and this goes off when I get in the car. If you're wearing shorts and beach clothing type thing because of the weather down here, it's hard to conceal. No, I like open carry. There's only a handful of states that don't have open carry. I've been waiting for open carry for so long. I thought we really were going to have it. Yeah, and I bet there's not a lot of crime. I mean, if I lived in Michigan, I wouldn't care about it as much. But why should we have to conceal it? We got a Second Amendment. Why can't we not carry our gun? Why not? I'd probably walk around like Chuck Connors and the Rifleman with a. I've always, what? One gun I've never had that I want. I've always wanted a 30-30. Most states have open carry. Bob was pissed. DeSantis, what does Trump say? He choked. He's playing with the big boys.
Back to the Steve Kane Show with
All right, we are back. I'm just going to go straight to the phones. They're ringing. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Barbara in Baltimore.
Hey, Barbara.
I just wanted to give you the real news here because the deal was April the 15th of 1988. The deal this guy was talking about. Donald Trump walked away with a profit of $400 million
Oh,
on the deal.
sounds like Merv Griffin really took him to the cleaners.
Sound like he took it to the cleaners. Trump did not want to sell. I've got the article right here, and I'm your fact checker.
Okay.
It's the art of the deal. But I just wanted to thank you for bringing to attention Ron DeSantis is not ready for prime time. If I could just be gentle about it, he's not ready for prime time, in my opinion.
Well, let me tell you too, and here I am in Florida talking this way, okay? Do you know what I've not heard anyone say in weeks? I don't hear people saying this is Ron DeSantis's free Florida anymore. People have stopped saying that. Have you guys noticed that? Ron DeSantis is free Florida. You don't hear that anymore. People stop saying that.
Well, the rest of us are under such lockdown. I don't.
Well, did you hear? By the way, thank you for that. So President Trump got $400 million out of Merv Griffin.
Right here, yes. This was reported in the Wall Street Journal. The article is from April 15th, 1988. Apparently, Mr. Trump was under pressure because of shareholders, and it was Resorts International, so he dropped his opposition and agreed to sell his control.
Oh man, President Trump, can I lose like you lose when I get 400 million, President Trump? If that's losing, I want to lose.
Here's the big however. Mr. Trump, however, would retain ownership of the resort's Taj Mahal casino that was under construction at the time, and a fleet of helicopters. And Mr. Trump has a profit. He's to claim a profit of as much as $400 million on his resorts.
Wow.
So when he loses, the guy doesn't win.
When he loses, he wins. Yes.
Exactly. I could just say that. And when he wins, we win. Ron DeSantis is a good guy. I'm getting to see a part of him or a side of him that we wouldn't have seen if all of this had not happened. Donald Trump is a loyal person. If he is behind you, he's behind you 100%. We saw that with Judge Kavanaugh. Most Republicans would have told Kavanaugh to get out of it, but Kavanaugh was right, and Donald Trump believed him, and he stuck with him. That's the nature of this man, which makes him a...
And then look what happened. President Trump, with his perfect Supreme Court picks, overturned Roe v. Wade, which no one thought would ever happen.
Absolutely, and it needed to happen. It really needs to go back to the state. Of course, I live in a state where we're an abortion vacation spot for anybody who wants to kill a baby at 9 months. If you could.
Wow. And Baltimore? Oh, my.
Maryland, the state of Maryland, yeah.
Wow.
Stop them from 28 days after birth.
Oh, after birth. 28 days after birth. Oh, that's amazing. After birth? Did you say that right? After birth?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, but it was defeated, thank God.
Oh, thank the Lord.
That one did not go through, exactly. But, I'm just so grateful to you because when people are not ready for prime time, Ron DeSantis is a rookie. I really, really liked him. I wanted him to be VP. I wanted him to be the vice president so that he could see how this operates. He's not. Can you imagine him negotiating with?
Listen, what Disney, did you hear when I went through Disney what they did? Okay, not only did Disney beat DeSantis, they're stronger than ever than they were before DeSantis. DeSantis made their control over that area stronger, and I'm glad it happened.
For roads and their fire department, I mean, does he have to pay for their policing as well?
Yeah. Yeah. This is amazing because, yeah, probably. This. We were saved. He would have been going up against China. Putin. He got beat by Mickey Mouse. All right, take care. I thank you for your call. Oh my goodness. So I'm sorry, Bob was wrong. Trump won against Merv Griffin, unless you call $400 million payout a loss. Seems like he's winning to me. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
James.
Hey, James.
Hey, I wanted to bring up one thing about the permit stuff. What I don't understand is like Hunter Biden can get a gun permit due to illegal drugs. And what about the girl in Ohio that was on drugs to change her body and her mental?
You're talking about the Nashville shooter? You're talking about the Nashville shooter?
Yeah. I mean, if you're going through a body change, you got to have some type of drug to help you through it. Girl, guy, whatever, get a gun if they were doing the drugs.
Yeah, it's a good question. So you're saying that maybe trans people should not be allowed to buy guns because of the medications they're on. Now, let me ask you, you're in Boca, you're a fellow Floridian. This idea that open carry is incredibly popular in Florida. Now, Boca, there's a lot of transplanted New Yorkers in Boca. So it may not be as popular in Boca as other parts of Florida. But my entire life living in Florida, I've been waiting for open carry. And I thought we had it. And now we don't. And we didn't get it when Ron DeSantis had promised it to us.
I've traveled all over this country and doing work for AT&T. And every state that I've been in that had open carry, when I walked into a Walmart with 15 guys with guns on their hips, I felt a lot safer.
Yeah.
If I walked into a Walmart with not seeing any guns.
Exactly.
So, I mean, in the old days, we used to be able to carry guns. 1785, 1930 is when they took the right for every American to carry.
And this talk about Miami, they're talking about the spring breakers down there. Most of them aren't 21, so they can't own a gun. Okay.
A gun on your purse.
Exactly.
If you go to jail for that, then that's on you.
Exactly. The tourist.
Dakota, and I went to a party, and we left and went to a person. Without thinking about it, I took my jacket off and went into the bathroom. When I came out of the bathroom, I had 3 cops on me with guns drawn.
Wow.
And I took my gun and my gun permit, and I had to go in front of the sheriff and get my butt chewed out and get my gun and my permit back.
That's amazing.
Go.
This thing about tourists, guns are a bit, Orlando is obviously the big tourist destination in Florida. And I go to Orlando all the time. One of the biggest tourist attractions in Orlando outside of the theme parks is Machine Gun America. If you drive on the Florida Turnpike, just a little bit north of where I'm at, you start seeing the billboards for Machine Gun America, which caters to tourists who are visiting Florida. If you're busy, if you take a break from Disney, come fire some machine guns with the whole family. So guns are part of the. And I have friends. They'll come to Florida. One of the first things they do is, can I go to a gun range? Can I go shoot? Can you take me shooting? That's part of our tourism as well. So I don't know what these people are talking about. All right. Well, luckily you did well with the cops there. Take care, man. Thanks for the call. All right. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines.
Machine Gun America. Yeah, like UK Neil, he's in the chat. He keeps saying he's going to come to Florida, and I'm going to get together with UK Neil and when he comes to Florida and take him shooting at the gun range. No. DeSantis got smoked. Got smoked. I'm glad it happened. I would rather him I'd rather him lose. I'd rather him lose to Disney and in Tallahassee than lose against Putin, right? Wouldn't you? Beat by Mickey Mouse. That's right. I'm going to do, I think on the podcast today, I'm going to make that the focus of the beginning of the podcast, because I think people need to know, because the media are down. It's a complex story. You know, would you guys mind if I do that over on the podcast? Because I think people need to know about this. It's pretty big. If you're hunting, of course, if you're hunting, you got to have the gun out. Walk into the bait shop, or the you know, with the gun on your hip. See what happens. No, we do not have open carry in Florida. Disney saved us. Bragg and Disney saved us. The Brian Craig Show podcast is on all podcast platforms. And I also upload it here on YouTube. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, yes, Helen.
So-called Republicans that are constantly working with the communist Democrats to take away our constitutional rights. Ask yourself, if you're walking down the street, would you not rather be able to see somebody carrying a gun than somebody that has it concealed?
Well, it depends on who it is. If it's the homeless guy, I don't, you know, begging for money, I don't want to see him with a pistol necessarily, but you know.
Right off the bat, hey, this guy's got a gun. Maybe I need to avoid them.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Helen, take care. Good call today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? She's trying to make up with me. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Once, twice. Yes.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, Doris the tent lady. Doris the tent lady.
Oh, yes. Brian, that woman that called 2 calls ago, that older lady with Trump, she said it for me. And you, Brian, are the one that made me think so highly of DeSantis. And you know what? I still have a little bit in the back of my head that says maybe DeSantis said the things about distancing himself from Trump because it was still part of what you yourself suggested was a ploy, was to make himself a good adversary for Trump in debates.
No, not, it's gone beyond that now. That's wishful thinking, Doris.
Oh.
Okay, Karl Rove. Okay, go ahead.
This is so important. You know, the paper doesn't ever give any Republican anything, but there was an article, I cut it out, and I was going to read it because I have trouble with my eyesight, so I could discuss it. What do we have after many, many, many years? He gave us school choice in Florida. We are going to change. Brian, if you educate the young in little Christian schools, you're going to change the United States and the world. And he gave us school choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's DeSantis. So we have to.
I'm not saying that he's all bad. He's done good things. I mean, I'm not, you know, But these things that he lost on, these two things that he lost on, are the top of his platform. And the other thing is his betrayal of the president last week when he said Bragg could come to Florida and kidnap him and arrest him. I didn't like that. That's hard to. That really rubbed me the wrong way.
I know, but he's been hurt because everybody's been taking him apart, and he's only human. And you know, you'd be screaming bloody murder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll please, Brian, you know I love you dearly, and I think you've gotten yourself all hepped up over it. But say some prayers. You know, I'm a great one for saying praise God, hallelujah. I love hallelujah, and every time I say it, I find a little more mercy in me for people that have rubbed me the wrong way. So when you start to think it's DeSantis, just say to yourself, hallelujah, for the good things, for the school choice.
That's right.
In Florida should be rejoicing.
That's right. All right. Take care, Doris. Doris, the tent lady. Very good caller. Good lady. Been with us for a long time. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Vinny from West Palm Beach. Huh?
All right. Hey, West Palm. What's up?
All right. Two things. I lost a lot of respect for Ron DeSantis. The gun law of open carrier, I think, is very dangerous. It puts a bullseye on your head. I think people are going to start getting jumped and their guns stolen from them, from packs of, groups of kids or men or whatever. I mean, it could be a deterrent in a way, but I just think it's.
Well, listen, I know open carry. Not everyone is for it, and you're probably a gun owner, and I know a lot of gun owners. A lot of my friends and family that are concealed weapon permit holders don't like concealed carry. But what I'm here to tell you is Ron DeSantis has been promising this to us for years. And that and Disney are the two top things on his platform. And he lost them both big. And he didn't even know he lost until after he lost. And if he's going up against Putin, Kim Jong-un, and the CCP, and he can't beat Mickey Mouse and Goofy, come on. I mean, what Disney did is Disney not only kept control, they passed the ordinance before the governor took over that Disney will remain in control until 21 years after the death of the last descendant of King Charles. I don't know who even thinks about putting something like that in their legislation. That means forever.
Yeah, absolutely. But I appreciate it. Have a great show, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right, take care. And that story with Disney is, I mean, I saw the story yesterday, and the stories were vague and confusing. And now that we're the next day, they're starting to get fleshed out a little bit more. And what Disney did wasn't just win. The only thing Ron DeSantis kept control of is paying for the fire department, the paramedics, the roads, and the infrastructure. Anything that costs money, Disney's in control forever. I mean, think about that. Till 21 years after the last descendant of King Charles. King Charles is a descendant of Queen Victoria. I mean, that means forever. And they put that thing in there to humiliate him. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Berta from Texas.
Hey, Berta.
Well, I'm calling because
Oh, we got a bad connection, Berta.
Hello?
Okay, now you're fine.
Okay, I was in this wagon like a month before you were in the wagon with DeSantis because I found out DeSantis through people that I know in D.C. that he was already meeting with Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, and all that, and that really hit me to the floor. Because what these politicians don't understand, the uniparty, it's we the people. They're not in tune with how we get to work, how we pay gas, how we have to go to the grocery store and go with a calculator. I mean, they're not in tune with the American people. And Ron DeSantis, I feel sorry for him because he's a good guy, but he was so immature and he let people fill up his head so much. And now he's not electable.
No, he's done.
Can't be trusted. He's done. He's done. And I prayed so hard for DeSantis to make the right decision. I prayed so hard because I knew this would ruin it. He's done. Wait till he's after governor. He won't have a Senate seat. He's not going to have. He's done. Why? Because, like you said, Brian, this is so true. What you said. Trump put that bar, and it's like every politician that we the people want. We expect them to be more like.
And what that means is Trump. What Trump has done. He's raised the bar for the expectation of our public officials. We want them to do what they say they're going to do, win, and accomplish things, not just go out and say critical race theory is bad and transgenderism is bad and I'm for guns. We want them to actually go out and do these things. And Ron DeSantis failed. He's got three big things, right? The critical race theory and the transgenderism. That's one, right? He's done good on that. But the other two things, the Disney is huge. And the open carry, that's a huge loss. And
It was Brian for DeSantis. This is a humiliation on Disney. Remember, he went on air saying, "Oh, I'm a winner too."
And I don't think he knew he lost until the news story came out yesterday. That's how bad they smoked him. It took
That's what to show you, Brian. Brian, God doesn't like ugly, and you have to always go with what's right, not what you want. Not what you want. You have to go with what's right for someone else and for you and everything.
You see, he would have survived this if he wouldn't have given the okay to Bragg to come down here and snatch our president. That's these other things we would move on from, but it's a combination. I got to run, Berta, but thanks for the call. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
No, it's like, remember when Trump passed that bill? I can't remember which bill it was, and nobody knew that he got ANWR drilling in it. Remember that? And it was buried in the bill, and the Democrats have been opposing drilling in ANWR in Alaska forever. And Trump said, I don't know how it got through. I told everybody to keep quiet about it and not go bragging about it. And we got ANWR through. That was a big thing. Remember that? Well, that's what Disney did. Disney did this, and they didn't go out bragging about it. They just came up with a scheme. They didn't tell anybody, and they did it. All right. Someone said, I got somebody messaged me something rude about Mike from Louisiana, and I mentioned it, but I wouldn't read it to him. And then somebody tagged me on Twitter, Barbara, if you were not going to tell Mike what the unpleasant message was, why mention it? Wonder how his day goes after that. And I think it's more interesting not to read the message and just wonder what it might say. You know what I mean? Oh my. Oh. Yeah, I got two more stories I got to talk about. One's a mention and one's a more detailed story. Ugh. All right, Rome, have a good one. you heard about him on the radio. 561-320-8893. You know, all these people talking about people stealing guns off people's bodies. I mean, how many of you are in open carry states? Is that common? Do you hear about that happening all the time? I haven't heard that too much. I don't think I've ever heard of an open carry person having their guns stolen off of them. You know? Two stories here. That I have not touched on yet that I wanted to bring up. Right. Oh my goodness.
And be sure to enjoy a glass of wine from Cafe Chardonnay's legendary wine.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Lisa, and my husband and I received our MyPillow 2.0 that we ordered with Kane the other day, the buy one get one free, and they're our first MyPillows, and we love them. We absolutely love them. They're just absolutely marvelous. Yeah, I'm so glad that sleepers on the way too.
Go to MyPillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, and buy your MyPillow 2.0. Right now, buy one, get one free. You can also order by phone, toll free, 800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane. Have you put on buying all these people? I'm trying to think. I've been of an incident where an open carry person had their gun turned on them. I've never heard that story in the news. If you do open carry, though, the one thing I'd recommend is don't get a shoulder holster. The shoulder holster, then they can walk up to you, right, and take your gun from you, and it's pointed at you. But now I'm trying to think. All right. Welcome back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Andrea.
Brian, I mean, we just got a gift and we didn't even know it.
Oh.
DeSantis. And I'll tell you why. Remember when Trump came out and called them, what was it, Ron DeSantis, and everybody freaked out and it's going to divide the Republican Party? What did Trump say? He said, Ron DeSantis is a politician. And now the curtain has fallen. But imagine if this didn't happen.
Yeah.
This is a gift.
Oh, yeah. Saved us.
Should take it as such.
You know, Laura Loomer tweeted, and this is amazing. I missed this, but Loomer caught it. Karl Rove was on Fox talking about Ron DeSantis's presidential campaign. And Karl Rove referred to Ron DeSantis's presidential campaign as our campaign. Karl Rove. He slipped. It was on live TV. Our campaign. Yeah, Laura Loomer caught it. Yeah, exactly. Him and his, yeah, we don't like Karl Rove.
It's a gift. It hurts. It's disappointing, but you know it'd be worse? The divide of votes between DeSantis and Trump. Now there's no there's no moving forward.
You know, all these people that I've heard from today that talk about the dangers of open carry, and he goes, I have never heard a story, and I've been thinking hard. I've never heard a story of an open carry person having their weapon taken and used against them. You're in Pennsylvania. Is that an open carry state? No. Okay.
Still carrying.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of that either. You know why? Because most people who do carry are very skilled in what they do.
Yeah, the only thing I would recommend with an open carry, don't carry a shoulder holster. They look cool, you know, but the shoulder holster, the gun's pointed away from you, you know, the handle's away from you, and a bad guy can reach up, grab it out of the shoulder holster under your arm. They got your gun and it's pointed at you. But I've never heard of that happening. If it's happened, I'm sure it has, but it has to be rare or it'd be all over the news. But regardless, it doesn't matter. DeSantis lost on his two big issues this week in the legislative session. How's he going to deal with Schumer if he can't handle MAGA Republicans in Tallahassee?
Well, not only that, like, we don't want more of the same. And he is the same. He's establishment.
That's right. Hey, Andrea, you're right. And Karl Rove, and part of the Karl Rove crowd, according to Rove. Take care. I want to mention one thing. Then I got a scary story for you guys. I'm going to go, boy, that I got to get to. There's a story today out of California. You know, this reparations talk in California is going on and on and on. And the latest, the blacks in California are asking for $850. It must be $1 billion, $5 million for every black person. Does that go for kids? Because I'll tell you what, I'd start having babies if I got $5 million for each one of them. But black Californians are owed $800 billion, forgetting the fact that California was always a free state, for reparations due to generations of over-policing, disproportionate incarceration, and housing discrimination, according to economists working with California State Panel on reparation payments. They're estimating $640 billion would be due in payments to black residents. The latest estimate is 2.5 times California's annual budget. And some are suggesting $5 million per black person. Others are saying $1 million. I don't know. They got different things. You know, last night I watched Gettysburg with my wife. Well, I watched half of it. It's 4.5 hours long. I watched the other half this weekend or something. And you know, the Civil War and in the Battle of Gettysburg alone, I know some people will tell me it's this number or it's that number. We don't exactly have an exact number, but about 50,000 died at the Battle of Gettysburg alone, right? 50,000 Americans died just at the Battle of Gettysburg, which is almost as many that died in the whole 10 years of the war in Vietnam. And, you know, 500,000 Americans died in the Civil War, the war to free the slaves. And for those that say it wasn't about slavery, when we won the war, what happened? A Democrat went and assassinated the Republican president, Abraham Lincoln. John Wilkes Booth. You know, John Wilkes Booth, everybody knows he was an actor. And when he jumped on the stage from the Lincoln booth after he shot the president, everybody knew who he was because he was so famous. If that were today, they'd say Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Martin Sheen. They'd Alec Baldwin. That's how famous he was, right? He was the Hollywood left of the day. 500,000 Americans, most of them white, in the Civil War, died to free the slaves. 50,000 Americans died at the Battle of Gettysburg alone to free the slaves. I think that's plenty reparations enough. And I haven't seen Gettysburg in a long time. And when I was watching it last night, it's just so sad. These guys, you know, we have these people in California, which was a free state. You know, a lot of Californians died fighting in the Union Army. That was a Union state, you know, to free the slaves, you know, and this reparations, talk and this anger that I'm hearing about it. The 500,000 Americans that died in the Civil War, I feel like they died in vain. It's so sad. You know, that more is being asked when so much was already sacrificed. And, you know, they talk about all these things that have happened since. These terrible things that happened to blacks after the Civil War are because of the Democrats, right? The Klan were Democrats. The lynching. Every black man in America that was lynched by a Democrat. Every black man who was lynched was a Republican. Okay? So Jim Crow, segregation, all that stuff, all things brought to you by Democrats. And Lincoln not only did the Republicans free the slaves, 500,000 Americans died to free the slaves. Lincoln freed the slaves. Black men got the vote before white women. Women couldn't vote until 1920. Black men could vote in 1865. So I'm sorry, life's not perfect. No one's life is perfect. Think my life's perfect? No one's life is perfect. Even that woman I saw at Starbucks in the mink coat and the yoga clothes, I'm sure her life's not perfect. Right? She's got the sugar daddy at home, right? Why do you think she's doing yoga at 5 a.m? Right. That's right. He'll trade her in for a new model if she doesn't stay in shape. You know, a younger model. You know, so this, after watching Gettysburg last night and reading this story and these quotes that I can't read them to you now because it's disgusting, of this anger when there's been so much sacrificed for African Americans and there's no appreciation for it. And a lot of it goes to kids aren't taught this stuff anymore. You know, we were talking earlier this week about how feelings of patriotism among young people is like zero now. It's because everything they're taught in school about America is taught from a negative angle, right? Not a positive angle. This country didn't start slavery. We ended it in the New World, right? I mean, that's the way it is. And when I hear this reparations talk, it's outrageous and it's really disgusting. And very disrespectful. So many people sacrificed, not just in the Civil War, but through the entire civil rights movement. And I'm sorry that not everyone's rich. I'm not rich. And I'm fine with that. You know, we all have different goals and things in life. But this talk in California is insane. And it's only going to get worse. Now, we're going to take our last break, but we'll touch on some other things when we get back. There's one other story I've got to touch on that is frightening, but I do want to remind you guys, tomorrow is the 31st of March. So today and tomorrow are the last days you have to book the Douro River Cruise through Portugal's wine country and get free round-trip airfare from the United States to Lisbon, Portugal included for free, and the free high-speed rail from Lisbon to Porto, where the riverboat is. You got to book by tomorrow. So go to brianportugal.com and request a brochure. You'll get all the information there and book. Make your reservation by tomorrow. The 31st is the deadline for free round-trip airfare to Portugal and the high-speed rail from the airport to the boat in Porto. All right? brianportugal.com. And when you go to brianportugal.com, on the left side of the screen, you'll see where it says request a brochure. Request that brochure and get your reservation so you get those benefits. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
All right. And it's time for the highlight of the program. And of course, that is the gold, silver, precious metals report from William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca. William Youngerman, how the metals look this morning?
Looking very good and very strong. The markets continue to test that $1,955 level and held very strong. Yesterday we saw gold hit a low of $1,958 and a high of $1,975 and closed at $1,964.60, down $9.20. Silver was up a penny, closing at $23.33. Platinum was up $3 at $968, and palladium gained $18 at $1,380. The rally continues this morning. Gold trading overnight in a range of $1,955 all the way up to $76. Right now we're up $7 at $1971.60 an ounce. But silver, the big move in silver. Overnight, silver getting over $24 an ounce for the first time. We haven't seen that number in a long time. $24.06 on the high. Right now, $23.80 the ounce. That's up 47 cents this morning. Platinum up $13,981, and palladium up $50 at $1,430. So the metals are still the place to be, and they've got a long way to go.
You know, with that incredible price on silver, would today be a good day if someone wanted to turn some silver into gold at this price? Would this be a good day to do that?
It's something to think about, but I really think silver's got a lot higher to go. The amount of offtake on physical silver is tremendous, and this cannot keep up with these low prices. So I think if it continues like this, we could see silver still double in price.
Oh my goodness! So you were talking the other day that the demand for the metals is so high that there are some precious metals dealers that are out of the metals. You're not, of course. But this is a good time to get in on some of these things, including maybe the 90% silver, because demand is so high. Is that going to drive up premiums in the coming weeks, where now is a time to really start buying?
The premiums are already starting to rise. 90% silver, which was down to $2-3 over the spot price of silver, is now back up to about $10 over the price of silver. So there's these premiums are already starting to rise. So
yeah,
they're going to start taking place.
Yeah. So those are some factors that you need to consider. Get in now if you can. And, listen, if you can just buy one silver coin, you got silver, man. It's silver, right? And then next time you get another one, then you got 2 ounces. It builds up over time, and it's an awesome thing. All right. William Youngman opens up weekdays at 10 a.m. He's located at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. Online at williamyoungerman.com, and you can give him a call toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. Someone just asked me off the air real quick, William Youngman, how's platinum looking? Is platinum a good buy right now?
Definitely have solidified its price above the $900, but it's actually got a good strong base around $950. It does seem to have still resistance at $1,000, so I think we should be breaking through that very soon.
Oh, that sounds good, guys. So that's a yes, it is. Okay, so again, the number, toll free, 800-327-5010. All right, we'll finish out the week tomorrow. All right, back after this.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on.
All right. And, there's kind of been a theme on the program today of the sickness of liberalism. This story here. Did you hear about the liberal woman and the conservative dating app? Listen to this, guys. A woman was able to infiltrate a conservative dating app and reported several men to the FBI for their participation in the January 6th Capitol breach. That's right. Her name is Rhiannon. I'm sorry. No, that's the inventor of the platform, Rhiannon McEnany. Okay, now this is McEnany's sister. You may have heard her talk about this on Outnumbered. The Trump spokesperson, Kayleigh McEnany. McEnany's sister, Rhiannon McEnany, started a conservative dating app called The Right Stuff. Okay. She says that she did this so that young conservatives could find people that see the world the way they see it, as opposed to, I guess, these woke. Now I've been married 26 years. So, when I was single, there weren't apps. The internet was still doing dial-up. Caitlin, who's a liberal woman, said she ran a scam, right? Where she got herself onto the app, and she said her goal was to talk to Republican men and set them up. And she found 6 or 7 of them who she says told her that they were involved in the Capitol riots of January 6th. and she turned them in to the FBI. Crazy. You know, you got to be careful, guys. And I'll tell you, I don't know the details about these 6 or 7 guys she turned into the FBI. But you know how I think what kind of happened here to these guys probably? Have any of you known any guys? There's always been one guy in my circle of friends who tells us that they're part Indian. Any of you guys know anybody that's ever said that? I'm 1/4 Sioux or something like that. They're not Indian. They say that all the time. Not like Elizabeth Warren, but a lot of guys always say that. A lot of these guys in conservative circles, like on this dating app, my guess is they claim they were there on January 6th to try to impress the ladies, the CPAC type ladies. Okay. And that's probably what got them in trouble. They thought she was conservative. So they were trying to impress her by saying, yeah, I was there. And then boom, next thing they know, they get a knock at the door. And then she goes on TikTok and brags about it. Don't lie and make crap up, guys. Okay. And, you know, I don't know what it's like to date people today. And I don't want to know because, you know, these liberals think heterosexuality is criminal. So I don't even know how guys are dating today in this multi-gender liberal feminist world that we have going on right now. It's got to be a very difficult thing to do. But this is another reason to stay off of dating apps. I don't hear good stories about dating apps. Okay. I don't hear any good stories. And, you know, when McEnany's sister first talked about this dating app, we talked about it on the show, and it has one flaw. Okay. Now again, if you're older, you know, like, you know, because if you're listening to me, you're not like it. If you're a conservative guy in your 20s, what type of girl are you looking to date on an app? Are you looking to date a conservative girl or a liberal girl? Not think about it. I'm not talking about grown men and women that have been married that might be listening to me now that are in your 40s and above, 50s and above. If you're in your 20s, do you want to be on the conservative app with all the conservative girls looking to go out with a conservative girl, or do you want to be on the liberal app going out with the liberal girls when you're in your 20s? You don't want when you're in your 20s, you want to go out with the liberal girls, not the conservative girls. Do you know why? Why do you think that? It's obvious. So I have to tell you, the conservative girls are good girls. Okay. And there's no hookup. Okay. So even the CPAC guys want to go out with the liberal girls because the conservative girls don't give it up like the liberal girls do. Okay. So the whole premise of the conservative dating app for young singles is flawed. And it's flawed because it was founded by a woman who doesn't understand how all guys are at that age. You know what I mean? So that's that. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Pat from Illinois.
Oh, hey, Pat.
And hi, how are you? I just wanted to say 2 things. One, I heard they want to do $8 million a person.
Yes.
Black reparations.
Reparations, not reformation. Reparations. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe I get a can of black paint and spray myself so I can get the $8 million.
Well, you know, my daughter moved to California, and she's biracial. So I'm trying to find out if she gets 8 million or 4 million. Does she only get half? No. My daughter's only half black. So does she get the full amount or only half the amount because she's only half black?
I would think she would get the full amount.
I don't know. These are questions we got to find out. I told her stay in California till we come back to Florida when you get your reparations money.
Right. And one more quick thing. I think we should have a one-tier justice system where it should just be Republicans, get rid of all the Democrats, and if we find anybody that's a rhino, they go ahead and have...
Okay, I don't need to know what they're going to go ahead and... I don't want to know what the end of that sentence is. Oh my goodness, she was doing so good. I call her Roz. I think Roz would be Monsters Inc. If you guys know Monsters Inc., I think Roz is a better name for her. It's not an insult; it's a clever name. Give her a little personality. Anne Marie's in Pompano. Oh man, Anne Marie's in Pompano. Now, of course, all the Italian food, everything at Anne Marie's is homemade with grandma's recipes. But I want to talk about something that is not Italian right now. I want to talk about the Philly cheesesteak, which is out of this world. You know, uh, when uh, when we first went to Anne Marie's, they were telling me have the Philly cheesesteak. It's the best in the world. And it's very hard for me to go to a restaurant that's Italian food that's homemade with grandma's recipes, and I'm looking at homemade lasagna, grandma's recipe made with layers of pasta, ricotta, ground beef, or the baked ziti, or the spaghetti with the homemade meatballs and the lobster rabbit. I'm looking at this. It's hard for me to get the Philly. When I got all these things. Well, I got the Philly. Oh my goodness, that Philly is so incredible, and I've raved about it many times. And a couple weeks ago, I got a call from a guy. He called me here on the radio. He is originally from Philadelphia. He went to Anne Marie's in Pompano, and he got the Philly cheesesteak. And he was telling me how great it is. He said, you were spot on with that Philly cheesesteak. That guy grew up on Philly cheesesteaks from Philadelphia. And he's telling me how great the Philly cheesesteak is at Anne Marie's. Everything there is spectacular. And one of the things, it's not just that it's homemade with grandma's recipes. It's family owned and operated, and they take such great pride in their food. And you'll taste it with every bite. Anne Marie's is located in Pompano, on the northwest corner of US 1 Federal Highway and Copans Road, in the same plaza as the movie theater. When you stop in, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio. Now, the Philly cheesesteak comes in two sizes, regular and giant. Get the giant, okay? If you get the regular, you're going to say, I should have got the giant. So get the giant, not the regular, okay? You'll be glad you did. Okay, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Joy from West Palm.
Hey, West Palm.
Yeah, let's not be so cruel on DeSantis. After all, would you like to be with Newsom when you went through COVID? I don't think so.
He did some good. He did some good things.
I live in DeSantis' free world. You're the only person I know that says it.
But he.
Rational.
Well, no. Excuse me. We found out a lot about DeSantis in the last 10 days. We found out he's fake MAGA, and we found out that he's incompetent. He lost to Disney, and he lost to the Republicans in Tallahassee. He did some good things, and I'm glad. And I'm glad we didn't get that druggie that was with the gay hooker. Gillum is our governor, no doubt about it. He saved us during COVID. But what have you done for me lately? He said Bragg could come down here and snatch our president from Mar-a-Lago, and Trump was on his own.
Well, I think he got, like I said, he got the people. He got caught up in that web of, okay, I got money for you, because he's not rich either. And, I think he would make a good president sometime.
How can listen, did you hear when I went through what happened with Disney? Okay, so if he can't beat Mickey Mouse and Goofy, how is he going to beat this? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If he can't beat Mickey Mouse, how can he beat the CCP?
Nobody's beating the CCP.
Are you Trump got them to buy all that soybean from our farmers during COVID? Trump, look what he got Kim Jong-un to do. Are you kidding me? He got Mexico to pay for the wall. Trump, he did miraculous things he overturned Roe v. Wade. How many millions of babies did he save by doing that? No, he took on a lot of tough things and accomplished them.
Well, I don't know why he wanted to look into doing the Reedy Creek thing anyway. It's kind of...
Also, because not if you're Trump. Well, they didn't just beat him. They humiliated him. Look, I'm out of time. It's the end of the show, but thanks for the call. Oh my goodness. Great calls today. And don't forget, tomorrow is open phones. Tomorrow's Friday. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Open MAGA Mike Friday. That's tomorrow. Anything and everything you have on your mind is fair game on Friday's show, not just the topics I've brought up. Great calls today. And I'm sorry to report these things that happened this week with Ron DeSantis, but that's the way it is. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. God bless America, and God bless Donald Trump. See you tomorrow.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by Gonzalez Media Group. Broadcasting from the Rome Studio. Injured recently?
All right, guys, I got to run. Take care.